the, it's the 14th of October,
Sometimes it's
October 1992, and I'm in Santa Barbara visiting my daughter Helen. Helen,
Listen, make sure we're doing it right. What was your birth date?
I was born on August 25th, 1921. You can't have this is ridiculous.
Okay, I'll fix it. And what was your birthplace?
In New York City,
You know what
in the Fifth Avenue Hospital.
what has been your residence?
Well, first I lived in Jackson Heights, Queens, until I was married, and then after I was married, I lived there for a year. Then we moved to Alexandria, Virginia, where my husband was in the Army. Then we moved to Detroit, Michigan, then back to Whitestone, New York, and then to Wayne, New Jersey.
When you were growing up, did you live in the same apartment for the entire time?
No, I lived in about 3 different apartments, but in the same area.
Okay, what about your children? Tell us the names of your children.
My children are Judy, Christy, Helen, and Jean.
And what were the dates of their birth?
Judy was born August 15th, 1941. Christy, January 26th, 1944. Helen, May 22nd, 1945. And Jean, January 16th, 1950.
Okay, what were their marriage dates and locations?
Let's see. Judy was born April 28th in New York City, in Jackson Heights. No, in Wayne, excuse me. You're taking racist.
No, hold on. Keep going.
In 67 she was married?
No, in 68.
In 1969. Christy was married August 5th, 1967. Helen? 1968.
Oh, no, 1968. It was 67. I was married in
1967. And Helen was married March 9th, 1968. And Jean was married September 25th, 1971.
Okay. Let me see. How did you meet your spouse?
I met my husband at a church dance.
What was the church?
The Jackson Heights Community Church in Jackson Heights, Queens. And I met him on November 4th, 1938.
When and where were you married?
We were married in that same church on December 23rd, 1939.
Did you have a honeymoon?
Just a weekend. We went to Connecticut.
I thought you went to Niagara Falls.
No.
Where in Connecticut did you go?
few. Paul's relatives and my relatives and several friends.
Did Paul's brother and sister both attend?
Yes, they both came from Philadelphia, and his sister's husband came too.
But let me see. David wasn't married yet, so.
No, his brother came by just with the family.
Okay, and let me see. Your mother came, but no other parents came because there weren't any others, right?
That's right.
Was David Pinkerton Paul's best man?
Yes, he was.
And was Helen your...
Oh, do you get that on this or
I think you can hear it.
Oh, okay. And my sister was my maid of honor.
Yeah, it's better for you to say.
And Paul's brother was his best man.
And what did you do for a reception?
We went to the Hotel Astor in New York City and had dinner and dancing.
Would you describe your education?
I graduated from Northfield Seminary in 1938
Where'd you go to elementary school?
in public school 69 in Queens.
And what about junior high?
Well, it was the 8th to the 8th grade.
Can you describe your early childhood?
Well, my early childhood, we lived in an apartment and my mother went to work. My father was up at Saranac Lake for 8 years, sick in bed starting when I was 5. But my grandmother lived in the apartment above us and kept care of me until I was 9, and then she died, and then my sister and I helped each other.
Did you have a favorite toy?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think I had a favorite toy.
Did you have a cherished playmate?
Yes, I did. I had a cherished playmate, my friend Marilyn, who lived across the street from me. I don't know how to turn this off, Helen. Okay. I guess the person I cherished the most was my sister Helen. And I guess my saddest memory when I was a child, when I was 13, my father died. No, I didn't have any secret place. And I didn't have a life occupation in the business world because I was married and had my children. I didn't choose to where we lived. My husband had to live where the Army sent him until 1946.
What are we up to?
Up here someplace.
Did you answer? You talked about your childhood and your occupation? Oh, where to live. Okay. Were there any illnesses of yours or those close to you which were important in your life?
Well, yes, the tuberculosis that my father had that he eventually died from.
Did you maintain relationships with your close and distant relatives?
We maintained, yes, we did.
Which relationship was most memorable to you?
Nothing in particular.
visits to relatives memorable to you?
Yes, they were. We used to visit my father's sister and her family quite often, and my father's brother's wife and her two boys would come and visit us a lot.
What were their names?
Robert and John Trable were the two, my father's brother's children.
And what was the name of your father's brother?
John Trable.
And what about, you said your father's sister?
My father's sister, we visited her a lot. Her children were named Ruth and Mary.
And what was?
And they lived in Jamaica near us.
The number, not the mother's name.
Jeanette.
Okay. What about Aunt Helen? Didn't you go visit her a lot? Auntie Helen?
Well, my Aunt Helen lived with my grandmother above us.
And did Uncle Ludwig live there?
And Uncle Ludwig lived there too. And
what
then
about after your grandmother died when you were 9?
After,
they lived there too?
Yeah, they lived there. Aunt Helen and Uncle Ludwig lived together after my grandmother died.
Who were your most memorable friends, and what made them so?
My most memorable friend was Marilyn Blodgett and Jane Orr. And I guess what made us close was that our mothers all worked and we were home alone all in the afternoons after school.
Would you comment on your religious faith?
So I'm a Methodist. You're going to type this over, huh? This would be better.
Did you enjoy travel, and what were your favorite trips?
I didn't really travel until after I was married. I used to go to camp every summer from the time I was 9 years old till I was 16. I went to camp in New Jersey.
Where in New Jersey was the camp?
Up in Oak Ridge, New Jersey.
What traveling did you enjoy as an adult?
Well, the best part of traveling when I was an adult was going to Pennsylvania to a farm with our children for several weeks every summer. That was the nicest thing.
What was the farm called?
Passenger's Farm.
And where was it?
In Readers, Pennsylvania. I also had many nice trips around the world. I went to the Far East and to Russia and Hawaii and Bermuda and Spain and the Canadian Rockies.
What were your hobbies?
I like to sew.
Have you maintained a lifelong interest in anything?
No.
You like to read though your whole life.
Huh?
You probably like to read your whole life. To what extent did you enjoy reading?
I enjoy reading.
What type of reading is the most interesting to you?
I like historical novels.
What was your favorite book?
Heidi was my favorite book.
When
I was a little girl.
Do you enjoy writing letters?
Yes, I enjoy writing letters.
Have your old letters been preserved?
No, my letters haven't been preserved.
Did you keep a diary?
I kept a diary for a while, but I don't know where it is now. I'll have to start keeping a diary.
Do you enjoy music?
Yes, I enjoy music.
What kind?
actually want to do the second side first.
No,
Well, or maybe I should stop it and start over. No, we're going to continue.
is it still recording? But I didn't play. Well, you know, you didn't start the tape.
Okay, we were talking about music. You said you like light opera?
Light opera. And semi-classical.
Would you comment on the sad portions of your life?
Well, the very saddest portion of my life was when my husband died 2 years ago.
As an adult, who were your closest friends?
My closest friend when I was an adult, I guess, would be Betty Bristol.
What qualities did you admire most in her?
I guess I admired most of her qualities. I can't think of any specific one.
Why do you think you became friends?
I don't know.
Okay, would you comment on your parents, their lives, and your memories of them?
Well, my mother and father both had hard-working lives, and my father unfortunately died when he was young of tuberculosis, and my mother worked hard. They worked hard most of their lives.
So, what were they like as people? Do you have can you describe what they were like?
Well, my father had a very good sense of humor. And my mother was a lady. She was.
Can you comment on your grandparents?
Now, I only knew my grandmother, and she died when I was 9, so I have no memories of her. Except that she used to put extra hair on every morning. I'd see her putting her wreath on her head. Well, those are the things she wore.
What is your greatest worry for the future?
That I'll have a lengthy illness.
What is your greatest hope for the future?
That I'll be able to be a good mother and take care of myself and not burden my children.
Were there any lost opportunities in your life?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there were any lost opportunities in my life.
Were you ever politically motivated?
No, I was not politically motivated.
What was your party affiliation?
Republican.
Would you comment on your favorite president?
My favorite president was Ronald Reagan.
What was the happiest moment of your life?
The happiest moments of my life were when my husband and my children and I were all together. It's true.
Good. It really is. Good. Like we didn't talk about. What occupation did your father have?
My father was an advertising executive, and his account was the American Tobacco Company.
What company did he work for?
The American Tobacco, Presley Advertising.
was that in New York City?
Yes, it was.
And where did your mother work?
My mother worked for the American Mission to Lepers, helped raise money for the people in foreign countries with leprosy.
Tell me about your relationship with your sister. Can you remember any stories?
I love my sister very much, and she, when we were growing up, she oftentimes teased me unmercifully, but we always stuck by each other.
Well, can you give a specific example of her teasing?
Well, if I didn't do what she wanted, she'd make me take my goldfish out of her bowl. There were a lot of little incidences like that.
Think of some more.
Oh, I can't think of any right now.
Do you know any details about how your father and mother met?
No, I don't know how they met. I don't know how they met.
Now, tell us, since we can't get this information from Paul, tell us what type of person he was.
Well, he was a wonderful man. He was very honest and brave, an outstanding person, very intelligent, and an upright, good man.
What was his occupation?
He was a certified public accountant
For what company?
for Haskins and Sells.
Do you know anything about his educational background?
Yes, he went to Morgan Park Military Academy when he was 11. And then he went to the University of Michigan and got his master's in accounting degree in 5 years.
Do you know anything about his childhood or any memories that he ever told you?
Well, I think he's had sort of a lonely childhood, being sent away to school when he was 11, and he always had his grandparents living in with him.
Which grandparents? His mother's?
Both sides of the family lived with him.
Well, not Benjamin Franklin Pinkerton.
Not at the same time.
Well, he never knew that grandfather.
Hmm?
He never knew that grandfather. Oh, he knew the wife, the mother, the grandmother.
The mother.
But the father.
Oh no, he didn't know his father's father.
But his father's mother lived with him.
His father's brother lived with him until she died.
What did they do on family vacation?
They went to Wisconsin to a lake and spent several weeks there, and to a resort in Wisconsin, a hotel which they enjoyed being at too. But I don't remember them doing any traveling.
Do you remember him ever mentioning friends from his childhood?
There was one friend that he had as a child that he played basketball with, but I can't remember his name. But I remember one friend from college that he had, and he didn't have lots of friends.
What about friends from adulthood? And what did he enjoy doing?
He enjoyed hiking and sailing, and had a couple of good friends that he did these things with. And he spent a lot of time with his girls, playing games with his children.
What kind of games do they play?
Oh, a lot of card games and a lot of board games. And he spent an unusual amount of time, more so than most men did, with their children.
Was he involved in community activities?
Yes, he taught Sunday school and was president of the PTA and the usual community activities.
Well, I can't think of anything else.
I can't think of anything. I will. I'll write it down when I get home, okay?
Tell us about your mother and whether she was ever thought of getting married again after her husband left.
Well, my mother was afraid that if she married some man, they wouldn't be good to her children, and she didn't want to subject them to that. And she had a cruel grandmother, a cruel grandmother when she was little. The grandmother had her own children, and she would butter her own children's bread and not their bread, and she told of many tales where she was very mean to her stepchildren, but not all are like that.